Today, let's look at one method of countering the leg drag. Leg drag is more commonly seen in the gi than in no gi, but your partner can get a good grip on your ankle, draw your leg across, and very quickly pass your guard, compromising your knee line, starting to close the distance, and then out of that, it becomes a scramble to try to figure out how to recover your guard. Worst case scenario, they clear your leg, your knees point the wrong way, all of a sudden they have back exposure, and you went from a place where you felt pretty secure in your open guard with a standing partner to a place where you're totally out of your element and you're way on the defensive. How do we prevent that? Well, let's start by understanding a couple of things. The main goal of the leg drag is to clear your leg to the outside so that you can no longer defend this inside position. So when he goes to get his grip and clears, he's now taken my legs and turned them away from the direction that he's passing. It's a lot of work now for me to use just my hands to prevent him from cutting this angle, exposing my flank, and then passing. So when he gets his body into this good position, when I start to post, if he simply drops his outside knee here, opposite, yep, boom, now he's way behind me. Right? He's on the flank of my leg, my shoulder's off the floor, my back is exposed. By the time I start to look to hip out, it's too late. When I go to plant my foot to move my body to the outside, I'm actually giving him more space to drop his knee into here, and now he passes the guard. In some ways, the best case scenario there is cross-side. Worst case is I get my back taken. All of this comes out of the idea of the fact that when your leg moves to the outside, like this, your hip has to follow, okay? There's a misalignment here. My hip is still in between his feet. My leg is pointing towards the outside. If I was able to bring my hips to the outside like this, I would be able to face the direction that he's passing and start to bring to bear some of my defenses. And that's what we're going to focus on doing. When your partner goes to leg drag you here, if your hips are inside your partner's legs, the first stop is moving your hips to the outside. If they're low and you need to post, you can do that. You can place two hands on your partner's shoulder or a hand on the knee. In extreme cases, you can even post on their head. And we want to move our hips to the outside. Often it's too slow to put your foot on the floor, so we're going to use our partner's leg drag position to help us move our hip. We're going to drive our heel down, turn our hip out to the side. You have to be quick. This is a very short motion, okay? I can't take my time here trying to slowly move my hip out. Once the leg drag happens here, I've got to move my hip immediately out to the side. Now that we've created this angle, we're facing the very place that our partner is passing towards. This outside leg now, we've got to bring it inside. So you can post this foot anywhere from the near shoulder to the chest to the far shoulder. But this foot has to come in to manage this distance between us. If I don't use this foot to manage the distance here, he'll continue to drop, lower the level, and it will become harder and harder for us to use this new angle to our advantage. Okay? So your partner goes to leg drag here, you're going to hip out. While doing so, we invert this inside knee. We use our hands as a frame. This foot comes through and it serves as a post. Now, if we stay here, or if we just put our foot here without moving our hip, our partner will re-drag us. So they'll take the hands now to the top leg, drag to that side, and we have the same problem on the opposite leg. So once we get to here and we move our hip out, we put our foot in place, we have to invert. We're going to change our angle relative to our partner. I'm still too much in front of him. So the inside arm here is going to come through. We're going to go back of the hand to our partner's ankle. The second hand can post, especially if he's reaching here, it can post, or it can take a post on the partner's knee. Now from here, we're going to pull our body inside underneath our partner. Look how we're up on our shoulders. And out of this position, you have any number of things you can do, right? We can bring our feet through and end up in Ushiro X. We can begin to expose our partner's back. You can start to look to attack the legs. There's a whole bunch of things you can do. Okay? What's most important is you're now inside underneath your partner, not at their mercy, ready to get your guard pass. So your partner comes forward, hits a leg drag here. As soon as he does, hip turns out. We use this kind of quasi-kip to turn our hips to the outside. Now from here, we can put this foot in place, anywhere from the chest to the shoulders, and now we're ready to invert. Inside hand, scoops through. As he pushes, he gives us the surface to invert off of. We're now behind our partner. You can choose to place your feet behind. You can come up into leg attacks. Up to you, what you like to do. Okay, one more time. So he begins the leg drag here. We turn the hips to the outside, posting, opposite leg controlled, inverting, coming through, and now from here, we're underneath our partner. If you want to be conservative, you just spin back where you came from. Okay, so look at the conservative version here. Out, up, we simply spin back through, and now we're facing our partner once again. Just a quick side note here. When you scoot your hips out, when you do this kind of quasi-kip out to the side, your foot is exposed, and so there is like some risk of the heel hook, okay? Now your partner could leg drag here. As you go to hip out, they could sit back, control, throw this leg in place, okay? So he might squat down, toss his outside leg in, and now we have this sort of problem. So the way that we deal with that is we point our toes, and then this foot helps. If I feel like I'm at risk where he's starting to lock his hands, the foot is going to interrupt and we'll retract the leg. Okay? We'll cover that in depth a little bit later on, but just for those of you who are wondering, someone will put in the comments, well, what do you do if the guy goes for the heel hook? That's what you do. You have a conservative way of managing leg drag. Key detail, hips to the outside. Don't let your partner dominate the flank and you'll be all good to go. Okay, thanks for watching. See you soon.